No, I'm not blocking them. My mods are getting to it. The mods are awesome. Good morning, everybody. All right, so we're going to do tassel earrings, which means we need a lot of fabric squares, which is good news because I have a lot of fabric. These are cute, but they also shed, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. Yeah, I don't really do the whole gift game thing. I'm a very different creator, y'all. I sell books. That's how I make my money. But I don't have to play the games that everyone else plays. It's lovely. That is how you get to speak truth to power, and nobody can cancel you. She's super pretty. Oh, the 2 books that I wrote, plus a whole bunch of other people's books. I'm wickedly good at selling books on the internet. But I have 2 best. One is called Uncultured, about growing up in the Children of God religious cult and then going into the cult of the U.S. Army. And the second one just came out not even 2 weeks ago, The Culting of America. We are already going to our second print, folks, which is the literal definition of the dream. And they're both on audio. Listen anytime. What you can't do is come here and criticize me for not doing that. On wherever you get your audio. It's funny because usually people would tell you to start with their first books, but honestly, Culting of America is just so relevant to right now. And it is a completely different kind of book. So, yep. So we printed out 10,000 copies. We're already doing a second print. We have Amazon editors loves the book. They put us as one of the best history books of January, which is always interesting because I had not thought of it as a history book. It certainly is. I just haven't thought of it that way. These are old jewelry bags, which are one of my favorite things to make earrings from. Can we see them here? That's what they look like. You can't criticize me for not doing enough if you have not done the things that I've done. That's what we're talking about. No, that's not what we're talking about. It's just someone here trying to do that. And I'm like, no thanks. No thanks. Not here for that feedback. Teal strip, and then we just grew the rainbow. And actually, my plan was to just do a white strip in front for space travel era. I'm too in love with my rainbow, so now I can't get rid of it. It was also, I made a video about this, that it's been very interesting to go from blonde to like not a natural color, because I didn't have to. Because it's like, rainbow hair doesn't have as much associated with it as blonde or brunette, no matter how hard MAGA wants to try. If Amazon will do, are we talking about my books? Or I'm sure Amazon has done Braille books before. I am not likely to do a Braille book anytime soon. I am starting to sell translation rights, though. Well, we're going to self-publish Spanish. Then we're potentially going to sell other translation rights. So if you're in a place that wants Culting of America, not in English, get in touch. These are cute, but also too dramatic. There's no single way of humanity. That's what we call a transcendent mission. That is very easy to weaponize and use against you. You need to define your mission a lot more than that, and there's still not going to be one way. Crafter's queen, crafter's queen. Craft, however, not the only part of the revolution. You also have to go out to the revolution. It's so funny because I make these videos and someone will be like, oh yeah, have you been to the protest? Every single one. Yes. And then they're like, oh, okay. Like, you think I'm just out here telling people to do things that I'm not willing to do? Hi, I was an officer in the Army. That's the first thing they teach us not to do. Hey, Mark. Probably too small. All right. Now, only 2 little blue velvet squares. Where have they gone? Still laughing at that guy who named himself Woman Respecter. It's like, if you have to name yourself that, I think maybe you're not one. Just saying. It's like my kid, every time someone's like, I did this really great thing, she's always like, you should let somebody else tell you that you're really great. And I'm always like, I have. Look at my reviews. All right. So now we're going to put them in tassels. So this one time, I stabbed myself in the leg at officer school. Oh, of course he created a new account called Trump Respecter. Yeah, that's exactly how those kinds of guys go. You put him in their place. I respect women. You put him in their place. Oh yeah, fuck you. I love Trump. Yeah, okay. I had no idea that was coming. None. I'm shocked. Just make that a little square. I can only find one of them. All right. So this jewelry bag. Hey, I'm going to be in Dallas April 16th. No, probably not for work, even though my Dallas guy keeps trying to help me. I do a lot of stuff with my money to help people, yes, including spending $150 to develop a book called The Culting of America, $50,000. The most useful way I can think to help people, a book. That's what I did. You can also check out my Angry Knitting, March 8th. You can also stop asking other people what they're doing and just go do stuff yourself, Instead of trying to decide if the creator on the internet is doing enough, you could just do stuff. Lania, I've worked for 3 years without pay to make this book. I'm doing many good things with the money. You're not on my team, so you don't get a spreadsheet of what I'm doing with my money. You can decide what kind of person I am by hanging out here, by listening, by checking out my videos, or by reading my books. You don't get to demand to know what I do with my money. That's not the conversation we're having. I know, you can ask, and I'm telling you that I'm not going to answer. That tells me what kind of person you are right now. I talk all about fighting back on this channel. It's the whole topic of this channel. Almost everybody here knows the things that I'm doing. Well, you don't get to come in and make demands. It's not what we're doing here. We're making jewelry. Okay, somebody block Lanny up, please. She's not listening. Crochet hook. Ha. What grade level is Culting of America written for? I mean, it says sex trafficking quite a bit, but I would assume an 8th grader could understand the whole thing. Yeah. Coming here to criticize me. Like, what are you doing with your time? Well, I'm trying to figure out what kind of person. Okay, then figure it out. There's so much about me. I'm so Googleable. Taking care of myself by drinking coffee today. Thank you very much. All right, let's do these first. These are jewelry bags. Just gonna, thanks, I made it. Let's make gold. Gold? Silver. I think silver. It's also this weird like assumption that people have that I'm some kind of public asset. Like, I'm not a public asset. This is my business. Welcome. I'm glad that it helps people. Most people want a career where they're doing something that they feel like matters. And I have one. And I understand that that upsets some people, but I'm still not a public asset. You still don't get to show up here and just make demands of me. I'm making so this is from a jewelry bag, a really tiny one. And now I'm going to make a tassel earring out of it. So you put the hot glue and you take your square and you smush it in there. It didn't go exactly centered, but that's okay. Yes, I'm very Googleable. You can go read all about me. It's almost like I've done some shit in my life. Almost like instead of just sitting around saying, oh, what this country's coming to, I wrote 2 books about what this country is coming to.
Hi, Bob.
It has taken me probably 6 months to do this with my hair. No, maybe 8 months. Okay. You know how to feed yourself.
Mom, I don't know what to eat.
Okay. So run through your options. I see waffles right on the counter next to the toaster. The whole part of free Sunday morning is that she gets her own breakfast, and she knows this. So don't worry. Who would play me in a movie? Well, I don't really like movies. I want to be played by Bella Thorne in a miniseries. And in fact, Bella Thorne's people once contacted me, but that's my story for Make Your Wishes Out Loud, friends. Kiss me. Okay, so someone says they're legit. Storm the field during the halftime show. Okay, done. It just happened. Now what are you going to do? This is what Amanda Nelson talks about. Like, if you're afraid of something, go into it more. They're going to storm the Super Bowl for what? Where are you getting that from? Why are you afraid of that? And what do you think they're going to try to achieve? And then if it happens, what will you do about it? It's the only reason for borrowing anxiety about the future is to plan what you're going to do about it. I am certainly not going to tell you how you should protest. And it's weird to be asking a random person on the internet if you should bring a gun to a protest, honestly. That's a very personal decision. Okay, so if you're worried about the government taking on autistic kids, 5 million people diagnosed autistic. How are they going to do it? Where are they going to put them? And then what are you going to do if that happens? Are you going to take your child and run? Are you going to sue? Are you going to fight? I'm going to lead all of the late diagnosed neurodivergent women on nonstop shenanigans in RFK's autistic camps. What are you going to do? You'll never get another response from me to telling me you're afraid of something. Then, okay, what are you going to do about it? That's my job. I grew up in a labor torture camp. Like, okay, you're scared. I'm sorry. This sucks. I'm angry that this is happening too. What are you going to do about it? She has her waffles with nothing. Like another example of someone just giving me money to make fun of my hair. Thanks, bro. You're paying for my vacation to France and England this year. Love you.
Hey, Mom.
Yes, love. Yeah. And also, like, we can say a lot of things about RFK. We cannot say that man is neurotypical. So, like, okay, make your camps, bro. Yeah. Which camp are they going to put you? Which camp are they going to put you in? If multiple things. About that one. All right, let's do these shiny silver ones. These little ones for these because they're so thin. Yes, you should be asking why our taxpayer money is being used, and then potentially stop paying our taxes. These are all options. But one of the reasons that people say, like, people incorrectly say that I'm saying things are not so bad is because the answer is never blah! The answer is always, what are you going to do about it? Okay, horrible thing is happening. What are you going to do about it? I was born into a sex cult and had to get myself escaped at 15. You, a full-grown adult, can probably do something as your country is falling to fascism. First, you got to get over your shock that this is happening in America and just be like, this is happening. Not for my life, but here we are. And then you deal with it. That's like every single time. Nobody in all these other countries deserved the wars either. We didn't deserve a good government more than anyone else in the world. Now here we are. And the truth is, most of us are going to survive and some of us are not. And we'll figure it all out as it happens. The pushback right now is pretty good. So Americans are doing a good job. The descent into fascism hasn't changed my parenting at all because I was pregnant with my child when the descent into fascism really started in earnest. And like I said, I've been doing this the whole time. So much like other people for other reasons that are like, now y'all are waking up, now y'all are scared. That's very much how I feel. Like, oh, now you're finding out the government was run by pedophiles? I knew that the Children of God performed twice at the White House in the 90s. I'm not shocked. I knew almost certainly that Prince Andrew had killed somebody, which is why they kicked him out of the royal family. No. Some of y'all were told this lie that America was a good country. I would say that's the number one thing about moving to America. Every country has patriotism. Every country, people love their nation. Brazilians have the Brazil flag everywhere more than the US, but they don't think they're the best country in the world. Only America, which is a cult thing, by the way. To be like, yeah, we're just the best. And we just say that with no embarrassment. We just say that out loud. No shame. See, I was raised by people that told me that America was vicious and evil and Babylon the whore. So it's saddening to find out that the cult was right about America being evil, but it's not shocking. And as the profile that's coming out on me today is going to say, I grew up knowing that rights were not guaranteed. I don't know why you're asking anyone to tell you the future, but I can promise you that none of us doing this job know the future, and none of us can tell you where America's going to be at the end of this year. We can tell you, as I have done many times quite broadly, that we are marching toward a dictatorship. Okay. The hard part is you really got to have your tassel set up beforehand. But since I only have 2 hands, it's a little challenging to do all the things. So that's the number one reason they don't all turn out great. Either that or my crochet hook breaks through. Okay, just remember that knitting the red tassel hats is supposed to be to then go out and wear them. Craftivism is cool, but it's not the only part. You're going to be talking about that a lot at the knitting.
I may have added too much ice.
Dump it. No, ice. Oh, too much hot glue everywhere. That ruins it. Oh, I don't know about seed beads. We haven't really gotten into tiny beads yet. You're making tassel earrings. Hair salon. I get my hair colored like this in a hair salon. I would say it's very expensive, but MAGA picks up the bill for me. because I get paid in clicks and they love to just type money into my account telling me how stupid I am for having rainbow hair. It would have been so brilliant of me if I hadn't figured it out by accident. Bible thumping is usually to gain tithes, yes. And door knocking is labor. Saying that the way that I did my hair is in a salon is mean to you, you need to get the fuck out because you're not going to do well here. My crystal ball's in the shop for the next 3 to 5 years. I do not know how long this is going to last for, and anybody telling you that they do is lying to you. History doesn't actually repeat, it rhymes. Which is why knowing the trends, the similarities, and the differences is always the right answer. Brazil, not the same as Germany, but you know what? They both have the same in their propaganda. We are number one and work hard. Because culture is about labor. But like part of what y'all need to realize is that nobody on the internet is going to tell you how long this is going to last for. Get involved. Nobody's saying 12 years. Nobody knows how long this is going to last for. Stop listening to people telling you this is going to go for about 12 years. You're listening to crackpots. Texas did just flip seats blue. It's happening. State of Texas, call it what you want to. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Sorry, the new lyrics. Because cults always space travel. Oh, my hair is just here to enrage you and taunt you into giving me comment money. Thanks. It's not true. I don't think about you that much, but y'all think about me that much. So it's not made of dried flowers. It is made of thread. Texas has not been blue for a long time. Texas has been gerrymandered to be red for a long time, and understanding that is incredibly important. Trying to school someone from Texas, silly koala pants. It takes me about 3 hours to make one of these necklaces. This is my example of how, like, yes, you can make money making crafts. You have to be extremely prolific, right? I craft for about 12 hours a day. To be extremely prolific, and you have to be able to build a huge audience. And still, you have to discount your time. Because still, I sell these for between 60 to 80 bucks, which is still what should be minimum wage, except authoritarian governments that want you to work. I also did a tutorial, so it's on all of my channels. You can see how I did it, and you can also get the pattern in my link. It's a little bit off-centered, but hopefully nobody is going to say anything about it to me. Guten Morgen! Yep, finding time for calm. We are, just taking a break for 2 days before we get back to the grind. Whew. It's warm. I spent a couple years in Houston in high school. I'm still not over the trauma. People are always like, come to Houston. And I'm always like, oh, sorry, Houston. Dallas. I do Dallas.
Do you want to see something cool? You have a pillar, but now because it can float, I can peel.
Went to Lamar High School in Houston. I'm not sure if all high schools look like prisons, but Lamar looked like a prison. And I'd never been to any school of any kind before. This color is not in my shop. Probably will not be because it is not perfect. Westfield was like one of our rivals, right? And of course, our mascot was the Redskins. Philly. Oh yeah, Philly's doing a good job. Cops coming out being like, nope, we're gonna arrest you guys. Two can play this game. So, good for them.
Mom, the good thing about having a bunch of ice is, well, frozen water. The good thing about having a bunch of frozen water is when it melts, you have more water.
Yeah.
Like when you drink all your water and you need more, but you don't want to go back downstairs to get it.
Are you going to go skating
You
soon?
can just wait.
So there's this big grass field by our house, which is an ice rink right now. And so my child has been literally spreading joy to the whole neighborhood by ice skating out in the field. She's quite good because she does, competitions and stuff. Just like all kinds of neighbors just been messaging me like, oh gosh, this is the best thing ever. Apparently we made some deal that she could skate whenever the sun is up. I don't remember making this deal, but I'm told that I did. And now my husband and child are trying to convince me to move to Minnesota, which has always been very off limits for me because of the cold. Like, you want me to live on a lake in Minnesota? I'm from Brazil. Got the back bundle with needles. Now you got to learn how to knit. Yay! I said this when we started selling the knitting bundle. I said, I think there are a lot of aspirational knitters, knitting folks. I don't like that word. My dad's family, my stepfather's family, is from Minnesota. So I have a lot of siblings and extended family in Minnesota. But just the coldness was one of the, when I was looking at PhDs in organizational psychology, the best programs are in Houston, Michigan, or Minnesota. I was like, I can't do any of those. Yeah, I love learning to knit while listening to my book. That's amazing. I am in DC, but I'm going to be in Iowa City, Iowa. It's going to be one of my book tour stops, probably July or August. My maiden name, Mestenek, is Slovakian. It means Village people. This first time I was in Afghanistan, I was replaced by a lieutenant, which is an officer. So she was American, but she was of Slovakia, like she had grown up in Slovakia, clearly. She comes up to me and she's just pointing at me like this. And I ranked her. So I was like, what's happening? She's just pointing to me. And she goes, what's your first name? I said, Daniela. She just starts talking to me. And what I presumed was Slovakian. And I was like, whoa, I don't speak. Like, I got you in Portuguese or Spanish. And she was like, but the name and the cheekbones. Yes. I am quite... My makeup is on one side very Slavic, on the other side very white people mulatto. So like Turkish, Hungarian, Baltic, tiny bit of Italian. Not enough to get me citizenship, I don't think. It was very fun. Okay, so this is my DNA story. So I grew up in a sex cult, and no, she's from Estonia. Melania. So they didn't exactly know who my father was because sex cult. So it was pretty much determined because the hair. This man's children all have the hair. And I have this bad eye, so there were all these ways that we kind of knew. So I go, and I've been told he's Italian. I'm expecting my thing to come back like Slovakian and Italian. And it comes back just like so Slovakian and Hungarian, almost completely, that I was like, uh-oh, is my father my grandfather? Do I need to have a very awkward conversation with my mother? And then before I could do anything, this person pops up and is like, who are you? Why does it say you're John's daughter? John's been married for 30 years. And I was like, oh, well, there's this whole cult thing. And this dude started to get very mad at me. And I finally had to be like, dude, you found me through DNA. You, in fact, confirmed for me who my father was. I didn't show up here claiming to be his daughter. Turned out that man was not as Italian as his family thought. And then later it got updated more, and there was like more German and more Turkish, which was hilarious because in the meantime, I had been to Turkey. I studied abroad in Germany. I already knew I felt comfortable there and looked like the people there. Then I was in Turkey and I was like, more people here look like me. And maybe my friend told me I was trying hard to not be American. And then later my stuff got updated to be 12% Turkish. And I was like, yeah. And I definitely told Cenk that when I was on the Young Turks. And then he was on Tucker Carlson. Go so left, get to the right. Anyway, that's my funny DNA story. These they don't go up far enough. They spread out wide, and I don't like them as much. Chicago is on the book tour. It's probably going to be, it's only 3 hours away from Iowa City, Iowa. So I think we're going to do a little like 5-stop thing. Maybe in the knitting cult bus, maybe not. It's going to depend on Zamista and his school schedule. We are going to do New York City. We had to cancel our New York City book launch for weather, but we're going to do it either like the last weekend in February or the weekend after March 8th, after the Midden. So we will decide that this week, and then I will put out information. We had like 50 people signed up to come, which is glorious.
Well, you tossed me the Paper towel, please.
Ooh, happy hour with sauce. Yes.
Love. Can you hear me?
Leia? I don't think she's around. Is it her style?
Paper towels.
Oh. Key on the floor. Yeah, the dog has just decided it's okay to poop on the floor because of the snow. Melania is Slavic also. Fun fact, the one thing that the USSR consistently beat America on during the Cold War was beauty pageants. Because America's just like so bad at doing white supremacy that the look that we glorify as Aryan is Slavic and not Aryan, in fact. Really funny. But there you have it. Thank you. I love the hair. It's expensive AF. But MAGA pays for it for me. Yeah, the American population not being educated on the rest of the world is one of the weird things about moving here. Not that I was educated on the rest of the world, but like I grew up around the world. And so like American ignorance about the world is quite stunning. That's for sure. Yeah, see, I think most cults are groups, right? But then I think there are cult systems: white supremacy, patriarchy, capitalism. Systems stronger than groups, right? And systems, something you can't necessarily leave. Also, when cults become nations, something you can't necessarily leave. It is a painting of me. And it's very interesting because this was done when I was 24 on leave from Afghanistan in Australia. And someone did a photo shoot of me, and then someone else did a painting of me from the photo shoot. And I used to have this hanging in my house when I was in the army. And people would always be like, why do you have a picture of yourself in your house? And I would just be like, I don't know. Has anyone ever done a portrait of you? But the second I married a man, never been asked that again. Because somebody picked me. So now it's okay for me to have a portrait of myself in my house. This is the messaging we tell young women. If systems as a cult is a whole new idea to me, you might want to hold off on not agreeing and maybe educate yourself on it. When it's an idea you've never heard of before, it's correct to just presume that the person who wrote a book about it knows what they're talking about. So misogynistic, your comment right there. No, I see what you typed. And I'm calling it out as really misogynistic. I'm glad you ordered the book, but something to think about, just in general. This is the American death of expertise. I'm not sure I agree with that. A thing you've probably never thought about in your life. And here I wrote a book with a 38-page bibliography. Something to think about. I also saw that his middle name is Conejos, which means bunny. And to be fair, he's probably obsessed with bunnies because his middle name is Conejos. But it's cute. Thanks for listening. People do it to me a lot. That's why I know what it feels like. No, people do not understand how in-depth the research has to be for a 30-page. My friend, one of my oldest friends, he's a Canadian military officer, and he's also a master's degree level organizational psychologist like me. He was texting me yesterday. He was like, wow, this is incredible. You literally taken your experience and bypassed the need for a peer review process. Yes. And I did that on purpose. Liam, the boy in the blue bunny hat, who is now getting released, though not all the other children who were there. Big bibliographies are underrated in America with the depth of expertise. You sound like one of the reasons why Trump is the president. Yeah, you definitely do. Yikes. I think big bibliographies are incredibly cool. But see, one of the things that I did is I decided to write my book outside of academia because I was challenging accepted things in academia. And also because like I wanted to make my own definition of cult. Why? Because I don't think anybody's got it right before. But I can't necessarily show you that in the research because there's not that much research, right? You just have to at some point believe that as a cult baby who's clearly read all these things, hence the 38-page bibliography I referenced, that I just know different stuff than people who didn't have that experience. Same way, nobody will fucking touch the military as a cult with a 10-foot pole, but I did because I have the military experience. Also, at Harvard, I got points off of a paper for not citing my own experience in the military. So, yeah. I know you think you sound really clever by referencing Dorian Gray, but you don't. Majored in literature, thanks. I'll be over here not being afraid of novels. Not citing sources is plagiarism. Not citing sources for your own experience is academia. Yeah. As I was writing a paper that nobody else has written, I got points off for not citing my own military experience. Like, I was the first woman to do this. But yeah, academia is great. Yeah, like I still got a 98 on the paper because I'm fucking good at it. But it was just silly. So then I went through and I wrote a whole book where I didn't cite anything about Children of God or the military, except for one very specific hate citation. But then a lawyer was like, no, you still have to cite things. So then she did it for me, which was lovely. But yeah, I did it outside of academia on purpose. And I didn't go get it peer reviewed in the cult world on purpose because they want to take me as unserious for talking about the military. And I want to take them as unserious for not listening to people with lived experience. And it's funny because they are all afraid that they're going to get taken as unserious and extreme if they call the military a cult. And they would, because they don't have experience. How would I cite it? So what happened is they took points off of me for not going and finding somewhere in the literature that someone else has already written about this. Because this is how academia goes. It's fucking white supremacy, focus on the written word, all of it. That's what I'm saying. But it was like, because it was an academic paper, they were like, you can't make any point. So this paper was called Nice Girls Don't Join the Army. And I was systemically debunking all of the reasons why they say women can't be in combat. I was one of the first women on a deliberate ground combat team in the military. So my experience happened before anything that was done that could cite or uphold that. In fact, I think it was an experience they chose that they thought was going to fail, right? All of these men believe they're pseudoscience and the fucking shit they made up. And y'all, when I tell you shit they made up the concept that women have to have access to running water every 3 days because periods. And then they wrote that down in Army regulations. And then they used that as the reason to formally ban women from combat. So, I mean, now I think my experience is being pulled into academia because I wrote 2 books about it. But same thing, like we couldn't get a single mention of Jeremy Spencer Fleetwood Mac's pedophilia in Wikipedia because citations, even though there's 400 pages of accusations against him on the internet for pedophilia. No, you can get the fuck out of here, sis. So ugly of you to say that to me, especially since I'm one of the most Googleable women veterans alive. Shut the fuck up. I was not on the team as an officer. I was on the team as a woman. And if you're in the military right now, you're standing on my fucking shoulders. Don't worry, the first woman who graduated Ranger School tried to check me too. And I told her the same shit. Yes, you have to validate white men before anyone takes you seriously. And I was trying to challenge the white men and the white women that defined cults in academia. And I have. I have what almost certainly will be the best-selling cult book, just in the genre ever. I didn't need to ask anyone for permission. Actually, and right now, y'all, the traditional publishing industry and bookstores are finding out about the book in reverse from y'all. This is really fun. Like Barnes and Nobles is like, why the fuck didn't we hear about this book? And now it's sold out for 2 weeks and we can't get it? Yes. So anyway, back to the Jeremy Spencer thing. I wrote about him in my published book, being an abuser. And now I'm going to go update his Wikipedia citation and cite myself. My first book is called Uncultured. That's a memoir. That's a story. My second book is called The Culting of America. There's one woman who was killed on that combat team, but she was already of the next generation. So there was 43 women from the 101st that when they said, we got to put women here, they were just like voluntold a bunch of us, right? Like they just came to my unit. They were like, you're a badass. You should go do this. Okay. We got a week of cultural sensitivity training. That's all we got. Then they realized very quickly, remember, this was an experience they thought was going to fail because they believed their own male fucking pseudoscience. And then instead, we found out we were asking the wrong question for 243 years. For 243 years, we were asking, are women good enough to be men? And which presupposes that men are the best at doing combat, which is just a fucking lie, right? What we found out is that when both men and women are trying to kill you, it makes a lot of sense to have both men and women on your team. But also why I talk about it so much, why I say I was one of the first women on a deliberate ground combat team. And people, including other women veterans, say to me, well, you're really playing word games. I'm not playing word games. The United States military played word games. And that word game became very important because as soon as they were deliberately putting women into combat, not incidentally, as soon as they were sending us out on kinetic missions where they expected something to go boom, you have mission planners standing around planning to send untrained and under-armored soldiers into combat. The United States military does not do that. So within 3 months, we're not ICE. So within 3 months, they opened up cultural sensitivity trainings. They opened up their own special operations selection, basically, for women, and then started deploying them. They would get training and then they would deploy. So there was one woman who was killed, white, blonde, blue-eyed, First Lieutenant Ashley White. And we actually thought that it was going to be over after that, but it wasn't, because we're useful. Since then, a few more have been killed. There was a Native American woman. I can't remember if she was part of the team though, but she's in the Ashley White, and 2 other women are in the Women Veterans Memorial here in DC. Native American women, by the way, serve at the highest rate of any demographic in the military. They did fix the armor. In fact, when I got home, I was part of the research and development as a woman who'd worn it in combat patrols, was part of the research and development. And then the next time the next time I deployed 13 months later or something, we had a woman's vest. And the answer, by the way, was what we've always known about armor. Push up the bubbies, you get them out of the way, and you protect what's underneath. I don't know what compliment you're talking about, but me saying that Native American women serve in the highest demographic of any demographic in the military wasn't a compliment. It was a fact. Yeah, and I also think that men shouldn't be in the military, because the only reasonable answer for why they don't want women on the team is because they will lose all of their military bearing and rape their colleague or throw themselves in front of bullets. Neither of those things are things that we do. You don't stop and attend to a wounded soldier until the shooting has stopped. We're very trained on this. And the only thing I've ever heard from men is that they will lose their minds and not be able to be soldiers if women are around. That doesn't happen to women. So that's why men should not be in the military. And that's why in my musical, they will not be. Ha, 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 ha. I mean, it's not true that most men fail infantry officer training, but many of them do. 0 Army trainings have higher than a 50% failure rate, so you can't really say that about anything. I don't even think Ranger School. I said, I love to hate on military men, but we don't have to make things up. Yeah, the real reason they don't like us in the military is because we tend to put a stop to the raping and the pillaging. And that gets them bent out of shape. Thank you, thank you. I just made this necklace. There's a tutorial for it on my page. I like how I used a very complicated one for a tutorial. There's also like a PDF written instructions. Link in my bio. Tapping helps make the live more popular, which means more people watch it, which means I get more money. But honestly, most of us don't make content creation money on TikTok anymore. They've kind of ruined that. Yeah. It's another thing, like, because I'm the one that talks about the military as a cult, people will be like, but we're always, men will be like, but we're always going to have the military and we're always going to have war. And I just don't think when women are 50% in charge of the world or more, I just don't think we're going to have war. We are just, quite frankly, especially women who, like, once you have used your uterus, you're just not that likely to be that cavalier about taking life. That's what it is. Men are cavalier about taking life. And that's war culture and all this stuff. But yeah. I don't think a woman would ever walk into a room and be like, stop smiling. We're not in the business of hearts and butterflies. We're in the business of killing people. We're going to be like, hey, put more hearts and butterflies on your uniform so that they underestimate you. You ordered the book to be here 9/13. I don't understand that. The book didn't come out till 2 weeks ago. Yeah, when y'all give us examples of women leading in patriarchal structures under a patriarchy, you're not doing what you think you're doing. When women are 50% in charge of the world, we're not going to be beholding to patriarchal structures and ways of doing things. You have to understand that part of it too. Just like people do this too. They're like, oh, what about when women lead cults? Because they say cults are patriarchal. They're still patriarchal. It's still a woman leading a patriarchal organization. That's not what we're talking about. You might need a freshman class on this. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Yeah, it's because men don't listen to anyone else. Men don't listen to any other perspectives. This is why men are the worst at leading right now, because we know their perspective, but they don't know ours. No matriarchal societies exist right now, much less cults. Patriarchy has infected everything. I should say no truly matriarchal societies exist. Patriarchy is definitely the big, big, big OG cult. Of course, there have been female-led cults. They're just more rare because patriarchy. All right. I guess maybe we could stop there and start putting the beads on. Yeah, I mean, we also need to understand that there are 1-1 cults, there are single family cults, and there are health and wellness cults. And in all of those, women are quite likely to be leaders. And also, we're never going to know about all the cults. That's why I did not waste my time writing a book about which groups are cults. I wrote a book about tactics because that will never age. BRB. I gotta go get the beans. B? Oh, thought you went out ice skating. This is the box of beads. This is what I give to my not crafty friends when they come over. Do this. Look at this collar that I made. I'm probably never gonna, I was planning to make a whole chaotically beaded dress, but then I got bored. I liked when Taylor Swift announced she wasn't going to redo the last 2 albums. Everyone's like, honestly, if we needed proof that she had ADHD, announcing a giant project and then getting bored and not finishing it and moving on is probably all the proof we needed. Okay. Oops, I need my pliers. I lost my good pliers. I'm very upset about it. That's begging for a spill. Yeah. good at listening. I mean, men don't read books by women. It's like, that's true. That's not a stereotype. That is true by the numbers. I am very proud that about 25% of my readership is male named people, at least. But yeah, men don't read books by women. It's a big part of why they're so silly. Just so silly. Big discussion with the first one. Oh yeah, who does paper crafting? Because I want to commission some flowers made out of paper. I have tried and failed. Gave it the old college try. Okay, so these are my circular logic earrings, but one of them fell apart and then I lost the bead, so now I am going to update them. Yes, it is getting long. It's exciting and finally not triggering. Still very sensory overwhelming. I only wear my hair down for like 1 or 2 hours a day, and then it goes up because I'm like, it's touching me. Because why? I know I have wisdom and common sense. Why wouldn't men read my book? Because my name is Daniela, and because that's the culture. You give your boys as children the wimpy kid books, but not the Babysitter's Club books. My daughter has both, but the boys only have the boy one. That's why. Parents. Why don't boys read? Why don't men read books by women? Because parents. Yeah, good job, Mark. I also, I just stopped reading books by straight white men when I was in graduate school because they were all by straight white men. And I was like, I am done with this. Haven't really missed it. Also comedy. Like straight white men don't know how to be funny. They never had to learn to be funny without punching down. So I just don't. There's like one guy, the dad guy, who's okay. And they use the word sissy as an insult. Yes. I know. It was someone who I used to be very close to who was like, no, gender is definitely a thing because when my son was like a year old, he had a very distinct desire for toys and trucks. And I was like, are you trying to tell me you don't think you had any influence on your child until they were a year old? Come on. Come on. Same thing goes for music, by the way.
What? Oh.
Women listen to music by everyone. Men listen to music by men. Oh, to spend quite a bit of time standing outside today, watching ice skating. I'm just not that excited about it. Rob Schneider's wife. Didn't he die? No, that was Rob Reiner. I don't know if I know who Rob Schneider is. Yeah, no. And the same child, when they were like 5 years old, they just wanted a Minecraft character that was a woman, and they wouldn't even let him have a Minecraft character that was a woman. He was only allowed to choose the boy ones. There's like more drama in there with the parents' own gender identities and things that they're trying to not realize. But yeah, it sucks when they put it on children. Okay. Oh, come on. Oh, brownie boy. Damn it. I only have 4 of these beads, and now I've lost one. All right. Wow. It is the fear of being human. And if you think like everything masculine, everything feminine, women have to work harder, right? To look masculine, you just have to be. To work feminine, you do a whole bunch of work. But also like everything soft, everything fluffy, everything that tastes good, feels good, smells good is unmasculine. It's just men with little penises wanting to be in charge of the world. Yay! Oh, gosh. Oh, Adam Sandler movies. Yeah, they make masculinity absolutely because it's like it's the same thing as whiteness, right? Like whiteness is an anti-definition, and masculinity is an anti-definition, and it's just like this shitty pseudo personality that you have to have in the cult of masculinity. And it was funny because Mr. Knitting Cult Lady was getting out of the military, and I wanted him to wear these like flower shoes or flower shirt or something. And I was like, it's not my style. And I was like, first of all, you've been in the military since you were 17. You don't have a style. You have loungewear and uniforms. But second of all, I was like, you are a retired special operations helicopter pilot. Nobody's ever going to question your masculinity. You can just put your hands in your pockets and say, like, no matter how cool or famous or whatever I get, you just put your hands in your pockets and say you're a retired special operations helicopter pilot. And anyways, he dresses very fun sometimes. That's not true. He wears no color and doesn't dress fun. But when I dress him when we're going out, then we have a lot of fun. I found the other blue one. Yeah. Right. Oh, not sleeping for 48 hours is not fun at all. It sounds awful. I mean, I've done it before. I've done greater than 72 hours. There was this one time that we were playing Soldier in the Woods that I was awake for so long that they forgot I was a woman who needed a place to sleep. I finally went to go to sleep. There was nowhere for me to sleep. They were so confused. Sergeant Major just went outside and was like, everybody with their boots on, outside now. Got put up a tent for the intelligence officer. And that was also when I learned that sleeping alone in a tent in 32 degrees is not the best. It's the worst part of basic reception. The first week that you're there, that you're not really being trained yet, you're just being processed, dehumanized and processed into a machine. I liked basic training. I didn't really have big issues with it. I didn't have to think a lot. It was time to get in shape. It was easy. It was interesting. Basic was fine for me. Lack of privacy is the thing that breaks people the most, but that's impossible to break me with. Officer school was fucking 12 weeks of hazing. And if you can put up with the hazing, we'll let you be an officer. Not the best. I did not enjoy officer school, but I did enjoy basic training, and I did enjoy spy school. But yeah, definitely already prepared. Also, yeah, they're throwing the gas canisters back at ice. That's the best. Trust me, you can survive. What's it called? Tear gas. There you go. Ask me how I know. Oh, is it because my mask was not working the whole time? Yes. And is it especially ironic because the whole reason they say they put us through the gas chamber is so that we get confidence in our equipment? Yes. Here we go. These are the firsties. You just look like little dancing ballerinas. So I made 2 of those. The human body can survive. We have, one of the things about being human is we have an unlimited capacity for pain. We have an unlimited capacity to cause pain. We have a limited capacity for joy. Sadness can grow forever, but not joy. So you got to work hard to find the joy. I got to take a minute to pause you. I will be back. Oh no, my lipstick is all garbagey. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's after 10. My life has been restricted. I do think that the people protesting are probably being irrevocably changed. I mean, I think we're all being irrevocably changed just living through this. It's the thing about being a cult. It's one of the reasons why veterans don't tend to fight with me when I say the military is a cult, because we're all like, yeah, they might not have thought about it in that way, though most of them have, but we're like, yeah, we're pretty aware that we're playing a game. We have to get with the program. We say drink the Kool-Aid and that we're changed forever. Like you never get to go back to being a civilian. You're changed forever. Most Americans will never be just cavalier about government and systems and whatever again, because we've seen that it can go away. You probably have to exit out and come back in because that happens sometimes when I pause stuff. No, see, it's not that hazing can be turned into better team building. It's that team bonding, camaraderie comes from surviving hard things together. Generally the type of hard things that are unethical to engineer. So instead we've come up with hazing, which is also, of course, very unethical. But like just doing a fun activity together and then adding alcohol, not going to bond you as a team. Hard things. The Eras Tour dancers, they're bonded as a team. Military units who've been to war, bonded as a team. Going to live for 10 days in the fucking woods, bonded as a team. I do know that. But nobody wants to hear that, right? They're like, rah, 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 we're going to get that military level team bonding. No, you're not. You're getting some rangers to take you on a jaunt in the woods. And like, that's fine. Those rangers are probably the correct ones to take you jaunting through the woods. But if you're not sitting down with somebody like me afterwards and debriefing and figuring out what you just went through, it's not going to do shit. It's just not. All right. I got to find some good beads for these sequiny things. So let's get at that. Yeah, it's fun to come on here with people and just have conversations. Just started Air Force basic training, I think it's called. And he will go for Air Force Special Warfare Combat Controller. The Air Force and the Navy get to do much cooler shit than the Army and the Marines. That's for sure. Okay, let's see. That's pretty cool. There's a smaller version of it. Ooh. All right. I got 2 of those. So, okay, first of all, most of these beads came from... Look, I've recently been accused of setting myself up as somebody that could like get people out of MAGA. Nobody knows how to get people out of cults. And if they tell you that they do, they're trying to con you. We buy into our own indoctrination. Now, once somebody has a crack in the brainwashing, the thing to do is ask them a lot of questions. And you can do that before they've had the crack in the brainwashing, and it might be the crack in the brainwashing. But like, if there was a way to get people out of cults, I would know it. And then my grandfather would not still be running the money for the children of God. I would also probably be a billionaire. What does an information officer do? Are you saying what does an intelligence officer do? I've never heard of an information officer. The intelligence officer, which is what I was, is the expert on the enemy. This one time, we went to speak to a kindergarten class that one of my siblings taught at, and I was like, so obviously they're going to think I'm the coolest because I'm a girl and I'm a spy. And I was a spy. And my husband just looks at me and he goes, I'm going to bring a remote control Chinook and let them fly it around the classroom. Such BS. But that's okay. I formed up my little kindergarteners into a group of enemy. And we targeted that helicopter while it was flying around the classroom. I think they maybe even shot it down one time. Ooh. I do think that women make culture Thank you. Yeah, growing up in the Children of God, 100% do not recommend. Fortunately, it doesn't exist in that way anymore, so nobody is really growing up in it anymore. But yeah, not happy fun times. But this is part of the reason why I get to be a different kind of scholar, because I'm from the super obvious cult that everyone knows is a cult. And nobody has the nerve to tell me that I don't understand cults. Some people have tried. They were wrong. Okay. So these, we're going to do with these fun turquoisey looking beads. Running out of silver earring hooks. I'm making fabric tassels. Just my little, what's it called? Assembly line. My little assembly line with myself. Ooh, finish crafts. That sounds fun. I have a pair. Are they Finnish knitted gloves? I think so. I have a pair of very cool Finnish gloves somebody knitted for me. Also, I'm in love with knitted socks, and I just now want to have 7 pairs, so then that's all I wear. But I don't want to knit socks. I have no desire to ever knit socks. It looks horrible. It's like knitting socks is its whole own hobby, which is not the same as other knitting. It's just its own thing. People that knit socks are their own people. Those are not the same size, but fortunately we have the same beads. Uh-oh, I don't know if this one is long enough. What about baby booties? Yeah, also like something I would not do. I am going to make a little tiny, well, I'm going to make a whole layette for my admin's baby. I'm going to make a little tiny baby pink cult coat. And the thing that you do if you knit clothes or crochet clothes for a baby is also give that baby a doll in the size of the clothes. That way, when the baby very quickly grows out of those clothes, they can just keep them. If someone who had been in a cult long term versus short term, I mean, I think it's, to me, that question is interesting with the military, right? The first thing we ask people in the military who were in the military is the same thing we ask people who were in prison. How long were you in for? And then we judge your level of institutionalization based on that. I was only in for 6.5 years. So we could pretty much expect for my husband, who was in for 20 years, to be a lot more institutionalized than me. In this case, not really, since I grew up in an institution, but generally. But it also depends what age you go in at too, right? So that's, cults always want you young. Look at the Mormons. They don't care how you bring them, just bring them young. And so my husband joined the military at 17. I joined the military at 22. My best friend Danielle joined the military at 25. So like she is, even though she's the one that's still in the military, she is the least military out of the 3 of us because she got to 25 before having her brain militarized. And now they're even starting to say it's like, it might be 30 till the frontal lobe is finished growing. Just don't get married till you're 30. That's big advice we give our kid. Just don't do it. Yeah, I like the thing you can do as a friend is talk to them a lot. The thing you can do as a friend is not alienate them, right? Listen to them, all these things. There's no one thing I can tell you to do. Like the way that one way we get people to see coercive control in their own life is by recognizing it in parallel contexts, right? So actually kind of the way that I wrote Uncultured and the way you can describe it to people is for this purpose, right? You can be like, oh my gosh, I just read this amazing book about this little girl who grew up in one of the world's worst cults, and then she became a captain in the army. And like MAGA will read that story, and then the book will do its own work. I'm not going to tell anyone to cut people off or not cut people off. There's a book called Rising Out of Hatred, which I think is like my best example of someone talking someone else out of a cult, and it was white supremacy, white nationalism. And they take 4 years, 4 painstaking years. And that's part of why I give that to people, because many of us are just going to choose to walk away. But I will say, like, just because you stay in contact, I always stayed in contact with my parents. They never cut me off. I never cut them off. And I hoped they would leave someday, and they did. But I didn't listen to all the cult leaders' poison. You don't have to. I've not heard Donald Trump speak maybe one time by accident, ever. I do not listen to that man ever since he became president. You do not have to listen to him. And you certainly don't have to believe him. You don't have to put all the cult trash in your head, because you are not going to convince them that their arguments are wrong. They might convince themselves. That's why asking them a lot of questions can help. But you're not going to convince them, because it's not an argument, right? And this is what some people are missing with the, like, you know, these 2 shootings. And then they go out and they say lies on the news, and they don't care that they're obvious lies, because it doesn't need to be true. All it has to do is get out to their people first, because once they hear the marching orders, the version from their leader, they're not going to hear anything else. They're not going to listen to anything else. So arguing in general is a waste of time, but arguing with cult members is a huge waste of time. One of the things you can do, though, is print out Trump speeches and have them read them, because the trans talk doesn't work nearly as well. Some of these are already very big, so I'm just putting them straight on the tassel. Yeah, exactly. Educated people can be MAGA because it's about ignoring your internal checks and balances, basically. And like, I always say this, like, a Harvard educated lawyer died on the Branch Davidio site in Waco, Texas. And it was a Black man, Harvard educated lawyer in 1996. So we know that man was smarter than probably everybody else, because he had to be. And he was in that cult, It's not about intelligence. It's about hunting for purpose. These ones are thin enough that I can hook this right to it. It's called Questing for Significance. We all just want to matter. That's why QAnon spread so fast, right? Because they felt like they were doing something. They felt like they had a mission. Joel Tamraz also was from Harvard, who was in the 1-1 yoga cult, and that's a very good book. I'm hopefully going to do an event with her in London in June. something to go with the silver. Oh, look at this little tiny crown. Yeah, I also think like the reason that Trump went after sign language is like he doesn't want anything coming in between people hearing him talk, because the way he talks is part of the manipulation. I don't think that America has more cults than other countries. I know that America has more cults than other countries, and I've written a whole book about why. It's called The Culting of America. Oh, if I tried to beat you up because you asked me if I understood the scientific method, it's because that's an infantilizing question to ask somebody who's an expert in something, especially in the social sciences. I'll beat you up if you ask me that again as well. Also, me saying mean things to you verbally, not beating you up, not attacking, not any of those things. It's called calling you in, actually. You can just do better. It's not me. Okay, good. I don't think I beat up anyone for saying that. I would, though. I don't feel like I'm finding the right silver to put on. Okay. See, it's just not like... Yeah, you can't argue people out of cult think. You just have to let them come to their own conclusions, or not. And a lot of times it's not. And a lot of times, even if they come out of that cult, they go into another cult. I don't talk to my other parent right now, but I'm pretty sure they're full on MAGA. This is what I need. I need another one of these. Yeah, it's called trance talk, and it's the way that they speak is part of it. And, Aristotelian philosopher mixed with Baptist preacher mixed with word salad nonsense. And it all sounds so smart that people don't realize they're not saying anything. Used to be that my example of trance talk was Keith Raniere in The Vow, but now I just tell people to go watch the last presidential debate. It's a textbook example. No, I don't. Well, it's effective to use cult leaders' words if you were in the cult and you understand the words. But the big thing about cult language is loaded language, right? Like when they say the libs, that means a whole thing to them. When they call me rainbow haired or blue haired, that means a whole thing to them. So yes, one of the best ways to get someone out of a cult is another cult member. This is why I spend all my time trying to radicalize white women. But you have to understand the language and how it is loaded and how the cult leader uses it. Because if you don't, that's not going to be effective. Damn it. I found another one, but it got away from me. Oh. Oh, lots of things. I wrote about it in my book. It's called Trans Talk. There's like a whole section on it. It's not just a specific speaking style, but it's like, if you notice, President Obama, John F. Kennedy, all the like charismatic presidents that we have recordings of, very easy to recognize their voice. And that's on purpose. This shit that RFK does with his voice, on purpose. And the thing is, like, people want my work to be like, what differentiates cult speak from someone having a specific speaking style? Nothing. Having a specific, very outstanding speaking style is a tool to make people remember you, to make people pay attention to you, and it can be a tool to manipulate people. If someone has a very specific speaking style, you just need to be more careful around them all the time. It's not like, it's the same thing with distinguishable vernacular, right? Like having your own language. And people are like, okay, so what about medicine? What about engineering? And they really want me to be like, oh, that's fine. That's not culty. No, you're just more dangerous. You're just more at risk. Special language does what special language does. It makes you feel special. It makes you more isolated. It makes you susceptible to loaded language and thought-stopping cliches and other forms of language manipulation, like trans talk. You're just more at risk. You just have to be more careful all the time. And that's why people don't like it. They want, like, everyone wants me to be like, this is safe. No, it's always low threat. It's never no threat. If it is a tactic for influence, it can be used to influence you in a whole bunch of different ways. It's not like there are some tactics that cult leaders use and there are some tactics that good leaders use. Nope, they're the same tactics.
And let's make some bacon. And let's make some bacon.
Are we going skating soon?
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
I mean, I will stand outside for up to 10 minutes.
But it's more fun when there's someone with you.
I totally did that. I don't think you get how cold it is outside.
But just remember, the whole neighborhood's watching you. You're bringing joy. I'm stuck. I'm stuck on these silver ones. You know what?
Yeah, it's more fun when someone was there.
Yeah.
I will stay out there with you as long as I can stand, which will be 10 minutes or less.
I'll come out for a few minutes when mom comes in.
In
the meantime.
Are some people more susceptible than others?
What?
Yes, but it's not like a type of person. It's like what's going on in your life.